Hello. Today you and I will learn how to solder. Basic equipment for soldering. Before you start soldering, you need to decide whether you have everything you need. For soldering, you will first of all need basic tools and accessories. Without them, there is simply no way. Soldering iron, solder, flux, tape for soldering. Let's consider in more detail what you need to pay attention to when choosing a soldering iron, solder, flux and tape for soldering. Soldering iron. The range of soldering irons on the modern market is simply amazing. If information about the quality and reliability of a certain soldering iron can be obtained from reviews, then we will tell you about the main selection criterion, the power of the soldering iron, here. Depending on the field of application, all soldering irons can be divided into the following groups: 30 to 40 W, soldering iron for radio components; 60 to 70 W, universal soldering iron; 80 to 100 W, a soldering iron for massive parts and thick wires. Solder. Everything is a little easier with solders. Conventionally, they can be divided into two groups: lead solders, lead-free solders. Lead-free solders provide a stronger connection than conventional lead solders, although in practice this is practically not noticeable. But it will be more difficult for beginners to solder lead-free because they have a higher melting point, do not spread well and require the use of expensive fluxes. Therefore, the ideal solution will be the use of traditional lead solders, which are denoted by the abbreviation POS, tin lead solder. Depending on the type of soldering, they have different ratios of lead and tin. We also recommend having some rose alloy in stock. It is a low melting solder with a melting point of 90 to 100 degrees Celsius. It is very useful when dismantling radio components that are sensitive to overheating, and it is also good for soldering contacts on boards. Fluxes. For good quality soldering, you need to use flux. In most modern solders, the flux is already included in their composition. But to remove the oxide film from the surfaces that you will solder, they need to be additionally coated with flux. This will ensure uniform spreading of the solder and improve the tinning process. Conventionally, all fluxes can be divided into three types: neutral fluxes, medium active fluxes, active fluxes. Neutral fluxes are convenient to use and in most cases do not require rinsing. Ideal for general soldering as well as for soldering SMD and BGA components. Sold in liquid or paste form. Medium active ones are widely used both in soldering oxidized surfaces and in conventional soldering and soldering of electronic components. Most also do not need to be rinsed, since the active properties are manifested only at a certain temperature, for example 150 degrees Celsius, and are lost when cooled to room temperature. Unlike neutral fluxes, they provide corrosion-resistant soldering. Active fluxes have practical use in soldering metals that are difficult to solder with ordinary fluxes. Such metals include plain and stainless steel, aluminum, nickel-plated metals,